So this is the start of Unit 4 on exponents, and this is the first section. Before we start, did you know that Walt Disney was afraid of mice? Which is interesting because he made Mickey Mouse. It's interesting. Knowledge is power. So we are going to be doing exponents, like I said, and there are 3 terms that you need to know. And so I made the exponent 2 raised to 3. Well, power, we would also say this 2 raised to the power of 3. So in this example, the 3 is the power, or we would call the third power. But frequently, we'll just call it the exponent. The exponent here is the 3, and the base is the 2. Okay, so it's always base raised to the exponent like that. Okay, and then the power and the exponent really mean the same thing. So if you ever hear me use those terms, that's what I'm talking about. All right? So for each of these, I'm going to show you how to write them out and then how to solve them. Many of you are going to be cruising through this, and it should be a pretty short video. So in this example up here, 6 squared means 6 times 6. Okay, the number one mistake I see from students is they do 6 times 2. If you do that, you will get 0 points on any problem, because that is one of the worst mistakes you can make, because I can't give you partial credit for that. So it has to be 6 twice, 6 times 6, which is 36. Here, this is not 3 times 3, this is 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 squared, that's 4 times 4, which is 16. 1 to the 5th, 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. I hope you know that that's just 1. And really 1 raised to basically anything is going to be 1. Okay, so then 2 cubed, that will be 2 times 2 times 2, which 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Now, in order to get credit for these problems, you need to write both of these steps in here. This step and this step both need to be written in, at least at first. Once you get more comfortable with them, you can kind of skip ahead. But for now, I want you to write both of those steps in. So I want you to try these on your own and see what you get. So for the top one, it should be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. This one should be 4 times 4 times 4, 16, 64. 3 cubed will be 3 times 3 times 3. We've done this one already. It is 27. And 9 squared is 9 times 9, which is 81. All right, so those should be pretty easy, but take some practice. Something interesting in here is 6 to the 0 is 1, 4 to the 0 is 1, 3 to the 0 is 1, 2 to the 0 is 1. In fact, any number raised to the 0 will be 1, not 0, except 0 raised to the 0 is what we call undefined, or I'll frequently write it as impossible. And the reason for that is because in a lot of these problems, 6 raised to the 0 basically means 6 over 6. 4 to the 0 means 4 over 4. Well, for this one, we have 0 over 0, which is impossible because you can't divide by 0. Okay, so important here. Anything raised to the 0 is 1, except for 0 raised to the 0, which is impossible or undefined. So one of the ways to prove that to you is 2 cubed is 8, 2 squared is 4, 2 to the first is 2, and so the way that we got from here to here is we divided by 2. The way we got from here to here is we divided by 2. Therefore, going from here to here, we should divide by 2, which should give us 1. For zeros, though, 0 cubed is 0, 0 squared is 0, 0 to the first is 0. So the problem going from here to here is we have to divide by 0, which we talked about before is something we cannot do. Now, one of the systems that I like doing is we're solving for the variables. So in each of these problems, we have variables. We have an n here, an x here, an x here, and a y here, and we're trying to figure out what number makes this a true statement. So for this one, n, we need to think 3 raised to what power is going to be equal to 9? Well, I hope we know that n should be 2 because 3 times 3 is equal to 9. So in this problem, the n equals 2 makes this a true statement. This one down here, since the x is by itself already, we don't have to do any of this trickery. We just have to do the problem, which is 4 times 4 times 4. So x equals, that's 16. 16 times 4 is 64. For this one here, the x is on the bottom. So we have to think, what number cubed is equal to 27? Well, I know over here that 3 times 3 is equal to 9. But if we multiply that again, we will get 27. Therefore, x has to be 3 because 3 cubed is equal to 27. And from what we just learned, 4 raised to the y is equal to 1. Well, there's only one way to get that. That y has to be 0 because of what we just learned. Okay? We'd like you to try these on your own and see what you get. So, x should be 2 here because 3 squared equals 9. 5 cubed equals x. X will be equal to 125 because 5 times 5 times 5 is equal to 125. X should be 7 here because 7 squared equals 49. And finally the last one, x should be 1 because 6 to the first power will be equal to 6. And I think that's everything. Oh, we got one quick story problem. New York City. Okay, the population of New York City was 4,500,000 in 2004, which actually is 4 times as much as the entire state of South Dakota. If that number doubles every 10 years, what is the population in 2024? I'd like you to try this one on your own and see what you get. So, I'm going to extend the page. So it's 4.5 million in 2004. If that doubled, that means in 2010, I'm going to change my color here. 2010, it's going to, not 2010, 2014. Let me just rewrite this. That population is going to be 9 million people. Then in 2024, it's going to double again. Well, that would make it 18 million people. So that would be our answer. Okay, if you have questions on any of this, make sure you bring those to me and we will work on them together. All right, the assignment should be posted on the website.